Hello, my friends, and I hope you're having a fantastic day. And sorry about the lack of videos. If you've been around here for a little while, you know I'm getting married next week, so I will be out of town. I'm trying to figure out what I'm going to do about at least a couple of videos in that period of time. But to top things off, we suffered a death in the family this week. So, just a bunch of extra stuff on top of everything. Everything will be fine, of course, but it's always fun trying to kind of push through. All that said, I wanted to go ahead and talk about an interesting article I ran across, of course. So this article is South of Midnight is a reminder of a games industry we're never getting back. And funnily enough, I read this article and I can't say I necessarily agree with it. The overall gist of the article is that games made today don't seem to be making a really large technological improvement. So this game seems like something that was made in 2015, and so no one really thinks it's exciting and it doesn't have enough. The writer herself says, she just had an okay time with the game and it really wasn't all that great, but it was okay. The graphics were okay. Nothing seemed to go quite far enough. Because we're stuck on a kind of technical plateau for the time being, nothing's going to seem all that great. So you should really be enjoying this kind of game. Now, my disagreement is there's always been, let's call them filler games that didn't seek to push the envelope. A good game isn't always one that pushes the envelope in terms of graphics, in terms of gameplay, in terms of something new. It's not something that's always new. It's just something that does whatever genre it chooses to do really well. Metroidvanias are an excellent example in this case, because there are plenty of Metroidvanias out there that aren't exactly new, but are still a lot of fun, memorable, good times. But they didn't do anything new. Ori and the Will of the Wisps, while an amazing game, thrives hugely on its story. Gameplay itself is, your standard kind of gameplay, but it is a lot of fun. How you merge mechanics, how you choose to do these things really matters more than coming up with something maybe like entirely brand new. I feel at this point in time, until we find a way to bridge the gap between gamer and VR in a way that most people can accept and is affordable, there probably isn't going to be anything hugely innovative. What we're looking at right now is how people choose to combine the tools they already have into something that entertains us. An excellent example of that is Pal World. Pal World did an amazing job of taking a monster catcher game and a survival crafting game and putting it together into something that excites people. And people still continue to play. On top of that, they have a really good model where they continue to put out new DLCs that keep people interested, keep people coming back, and keep people pulling their friends in, more importantly. Because of that, it's something that's not necessarily new, but combines old things in a new way. And from what I'm seeing of South of Midnight, it doesn't do that. It has an interesting stop motion graphics look, which I love stop motion graphics, I'm not gonna lie. But there's a game called The Spirit of the Samurai that also has a stop motion look. And in my opinion, I think would probably be a much better game. You also have The Midnight Walk that's coming out. Also another stop motion looking game, and also looks fantastic. So the idea of using stop motion isn't something particularly new or amazing to use. The person who wrote this article said the game actually became quite repetitive in terms of the gameplay. Everything she's said about this game tells me that the problem with the game isn't that it's, we all know it's a Sweet Baby Inc. game, so that's part of the issue. Let's not even pretend to ignore that. But a larger part of the game is that it's just not good. It's okay, maybe, but it's not anything enough to pull people in. They went for a straightforward kind of thing. They didn't hit it out of the park with what they were doing. There is a lot of controversy surrounding the actual development of the game, the things they did in the background, replacing a black voice actress with another black voice actress because the first one didn't sound black enough, which is ridiculous. on its face. Another issue that the writer of this article mentioned that she had with the game is the fact that you have characters bouncing in and out of the story constantly. It sounds like a game that was made by committee, thus it never really committed to one thing. Everybody had a say. Nobody had a vision. And if there's one thing that makes a video game a really good video game, it's when somebody, preferably the game director or the project manager or whoever's sitting at the top, has a vision for where the game is going and sticks to it. Because you can't make something great by committee. Art by committee does not work. And this is something I've talked about before, so it's not exactly a new conversation. It's just the same conversation with a new topic because, let's face it, it's something that is occurring again and again and again, especially at the higher end AAA scale. By definition, I'm seeing that Compulsion could be considered a AAA studio. So really, it's just not great for what they have. And as I said, especially in the AAA studio realm, you have this issue where people start to create by committee. You have them bringing in these consultancy firms and these extra people from the outside who are looking at things, and sensitivity readers and people who are checking to make sure that the characters fit the stereotypical boxes that they want the characters to fit in, as opposed to making sure the characters fit into the box of human. Instead of fitting into the box of being a person, they have to fit into this race, sex, orientation box that is tightly defined, which totally demolishes the actual idea of what a person is. A person is not a list of personality traits that happen to go along with their skin tone and who they sleep with. A person is far more varied and complicated than that. Within one person, you have so many complementary contradictions that to say that one person is one thing based on any physical or even mental trait is to immediately start to demolish your idea of creating a character. Now, I haven't seen a whole lot of the gameplay for this yet. I don't plan to play it, but I can see where it fell apart. Because honestly, it's falling apart the same place every other AAA game has fallen apart lately. It's falling apart in the fact that these people don't understand that to create an art, you have to take chances. While this game comes out trying to sound like it's challenging social norms and it's going to be this breakout thing where they're, turning the idea of the South on its head and all that other fun stuff they said in their advertising. It's not. It's just not. It's safe. It's small. It's very tightly focused in a way that honestly takes away from the art. And maybe I shouldn't say that. Maybe I have no standing to say that because, as I said, I haven't played the game and I haven't really watched any of it. But I don't think I'm wrong. I'm open to being wrong. I'm almost always open to being wrong. I am so far from perfect. I am an extremely fallible and occasionally stupid being. But I can recognize certain things from a distance. And this has the mark of everything that I'm uninterested in. And honestly, the gamers have come out and said that they're uninterested as well. The game released fully yesterday. At the time of recording, it only has 850 players in the game and so far has only peaked at 1,411. Now, with this kind of game, this kind of studio, you really would have expected more. But you have a combination of issues that's both going to cause us gamers problems and a lot of people to celebrate. The problem you're going to see is that this is supposed to be a new IP. This is supposed to be something that, is brand new, so people don't have any preconceived notions about it. They're supposed to be okay with what it is. And because this has flopped so badly, new IPs coming out are going to be harder to see. And to be clear, I'm not saying anybody should play this game in the hopes of supporting getting new IPs. Absolutely not. Because unfortunately, these companies never learn the right lesson. They never learn the lesson of, maybe this one flopped because it wasn't what people wanted and the game wasn't tailored correctly. No, instead they say, oh, this new IP didn't succeed because it's new and no one had any attachment to it. Then you have Assassin's Creed Shadows, which while you can't argue that it was necessarily an amazing outing for it, it did better with the brand recognition behind it. If it had been a new IP, it probably would have gone the same way as South of Midnight. But since it had the Assassin's Creed brand recognition going with it, that kind of pushed it a little further along. And what do we as gamers do? I mean, you either decide to go ahead and get involved and make your own games, or you do the only other thing you can do. It's buy the games you want to buy and don't buy the games you don't want to buy. Those are really kind of our options. You can either get involved in the trenches, or as the more passive party in the situation, you take what power you have and you kind of leave the rest behind. Personally, I'm always okay with that. Even if a game comes out that everybody else in the world says is fantastic, if I'm not interested, I'm just not interested. And no amount of, oh my God, this is an amazing game, why don't you play this game, is going to change that for me. And I want to say, I think most gamers have moved further that direction. Especially as you see the corporations trying to use certain types of advertising and use certain deceptive practices in an attempt to push the idea that, oh, you're missing out on something. Thus, you must get this. Fear of missing out is possibly one of the worst drivers in gaming. It's one of those things I will never understand. I like getting games opening day. I like getting games the day of. But at the same time, as long as it's a single player game, if I wait a month to get it, what am I missing out on? What's changing about the game in that month? Unless it's an early access game, of course. Lots of things can change in an early access game. Not much should change in a fully released single player game, however. It should be, pretty straightforward. Game comes out, maybe it gets a patch, I get to play it. Maybe I miss out on most of the bugs because I didn't have it day one. Now, as a content creator, if that's what we're going to call me, sometimes being more on top of it can be beneficial, of course, to my numbers because, people are looking into the game. People want to see their favorite content creator play it, but I don't think anybody comes to me for that. So as much as I would like to fix that right now, that's not going to happen. In the near future, I can get more on the ball with that. But it's all kind of, I don't know, hard to say. Really. I don't believe anybody's surprised that South of Midnight has ended up where it's ended up. I do find it interesting the way they try to justify it in these articles, and while at the same time trying to subtly push people into playing it more as if that's really going to help. At this point, I would say that gamers pretty much have their mind made up, most especially when it comes to projects that Sweet Baby Inc. are involved in. And, the journalists will tell you, well, it's the toxic gamer's fault, when in fact, they started it. Mommy, he started it. No, I mean, they did when they went after Cabrutus for no reason, other than to tell people that their consultancy firm was involved, even though nobody knows what a consultancy firm does. They don't have any real power. Then why does it matter if they're involved? But yeah, those are my reasonably simple thoughts and ramblings about this. I don't know that I have a whole lot to add beyond that. I kind of wanted to get this video out. I'm probably still stream on Thursday. If I don't, please don't be surprised. I still need to get together the stuff for that RPG video. I was hoping to work on getting that together for this weekend and then having it released while I was gone, but I don't know that that's going to work very well right now. I'm not even lying. I'm just so scattered and kind of pulled a little tightly, but it'll work out in the end. It always does. Nothing should ever really keep you from trying, But let me know your thoughts down in the comments. Let me know if you think I'm crazy. Go ahead and swear at me if you're somebody who likes this game and just think I'm wrong. I'm okay with that. But I look forward to reading your comments either way. Thank you so much for checking out this video. If you really enjoyed it, please consider liking, subscribing, and hitting that notification bell. If you really liked it, feel free to share it with others. I'd love to hear what they think too, so drop your thoughts in the comments below. A special thanks to the channel members for their amazing support. You are the best. Interested in joining them? Check out the description for more info, and I will catch you later.